Good evening and welcome to BJC Mitzvah Day, number 216, part 8. Using Sefer Hachinuch Mitzvah that keeps us on his way. And hopefully we'll be concluding tonight the obligation of Payah. Here we go. And the Rambam, Maimonides of blessed memory, writes that it seems to him that the same is true for other matnas aniyim, leket, shicha, etc., meaning that they all apply in the diaspora by decree of the sages. Not so simple if we hold like that. He says, although the Gemara mentions only Payah, there is no reason to distinguish it from the other matnas aniyim. Since the sages instituted Payah in the diaspora for the benefit of the poor, it stands to reason that they instituted the other matnas aniyim, gifts to the poor, which have the same objective as well. So all the gifts to the poor should be relevant outside of Israel as well. The Chinuch discusses the ramifications of violating this mitzvah obligation. One who transgresses the obligation of Payah and does not leave Payah in its field in Eretz Israel at a time when it is settled by a majority of the Jewish people, has violated this biblical mitzvah obligation. Nevertheless, he is still obligated to give the required amount of Payah, 1/60th of the crop, to the poor from the harvested produce, as we mentioned. If all the harvested produce was lost or burned or otherwise destroyed before he gave any of it to the poor, then he incurs malchus, lashes, for having violated the mitzvah prohibition of you shall not finish off the edge of your field. He receives malchus, lashes, at that point, since he no longer has the ability to remedy his transgression of the prohibition. However, as long as he still has some of the produce in his possession, he gives a portion of it to the poor and is thereby exempted from lashes, malchus. The reason he is able to exempt himself after having violated the prohibition is because this mitzvah prohibition is a prohibition that can be remedied through fulfillment of a mitzvah obligation. Similarly, the mitzvah prohibition of leket is also a mitzvah prohibition that is remedied by performance of a mitzvah obligation. So again, you can make up the mistake by doing the positive. As is explained in Tractate Payah and Amakos. So let's see if he says the last thing here. Yeah. The phrase, as is explained in Tractate Payah and Amakos, refers back to Payah. The Mishnah in Payah states clearly that there is an obligation to give Payah from harvested produce in the event that the entire crop was harvested, and the Gemara in Malchus states that by doing so, a person exonerates himself from malchus, lashes. The idea that leket is also considered a mitzvah prohibition that can be remedied by performance of a mitzvah obligation is not mentioned explicitly, but is derived from Payah. Since the obligation of Payah and leket are contained within the same phrase in the Torah, for the poor person and the convert you shall leave them, it follows that whatever holds true about the Payah obligation should apply equally to leket. The same holds true for the other matnas aniyim, gifts to the poor, that are included in the verse for the poor person and the convert you shall leave them. Olilos and peret, we'll go over those. Each of these is a mitzvah prohibition that can be remedied by the fulfillment of a mitzvah obligation. All right, very interesting stuff. Thanks for listening. We finished with that mitzvah. To sponsor future mitzvah 36, 100 for the gold. And we have some short mitzvahs coming up, so stay with us. Have a good one.